This is the news from Trek Zone. And you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes info and first play access to all Trek Zone podcasts by becoming a member today. Click join on every Trek Zone video on YouTube. Go to thetrek.zone/support or scan the QR code on screen throughout the show. Now, it's back to you, Matt.
Thank you very much, Ross. And a quick mention of our socials. Trek Zone's on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and your favourite podcast feed. Find us, like, follow and subscribe. Leave comments and ratings. That'll help us convince the algorithms we're worth it. It is the 40th week of 2021. Let's get some Star Trek production news. New York Comic Con just hosted a panel for Discovery's upcoming 4th season. We have a shiny new trailer and an updated synopsis, which reads, Season 4 of Star Trek Discovery finds Captain Burnham and the crew of the USS Discovery facing a threat unlike any they've encountered before, with Federation and non-Federation worlds alike feeling the impact. They must confront the unknown and work together to ensure a hopeful future for all. Now, Netflix won't release the trailer internationally for days, if at all, so we can't show you the trailer here on the news, but be on the lookout for a non-restricted version of the trailer on our socials soon. Of course, only when it's legitimate will we share it. Well, we have new details of Nana Visitor's book that she recently announced. Of the theme, Visitor recalled to Trek Movie that she didn't know what I was going to discover. I really didn't. I had definite ideas of, okay, so it was really bad in the 60s and it's gotten better. Well, that's true and not true, and there's always more of a story. When recalling conversations with Trek writers who said that they didn't find struggles because they were women, Visitor says that if you give it a minute, it's people didn't find the struggle because they knew what the currents were against them and accepted them and just went, you know what? I've got to be a stronger swimmer. Called A Woman's Trek, it's for publisher Hero Collector and scheduled for release next year. William Shatner says he's terrified just days out from his launch aboard Blue Origin. Speaking on a New York Comic Con panel, Shatner shared his thoughts and feelings ahead of launch. He spoke of the importance of civilian space initiatives like Blue Origin, but also admitted to being terrified despite being Captain Kirk. I'm sure he'll fly safe. The last thing they need is this expensive PR exercise to turn into a PR nightmare. And in news from our production desk, after initially agreeing to beam in for an interview, Alec Peters has now refused the olive branch extended to him. The reason? Our interview with Dean Newberry, where we learned more truths about the self-proclaimed producer. Newberry, a friend of over 15 years, saw the best and the worst of Alec and decided in the end that he's not worth it. He's not worth that awful feeling in your stomach as you watch him belittle, besmirch and slander the good names of others. Dean Newberry regrets taking so long to come to that realisation, but in my opinion, the fact that he did at all is incredibly courageous, and the fact that he speaks about it openly is even more courageous as well. It also adds to the growing list of people whom Alec has entranced into his orbit and summarily discarded when they no longer prove useful. I'm not even going into Paul Jenkins, Robert Meyer Burnett or Christian Gossett. Stephen Mayhew too, as a hardened supporter who saw what was happening and departed. Then there are individuals who adamantly and vehemently support Alec, people like Rhys Watkins and Colin Crapp, the former of whom beamed into a Trek Zone conversation and was given an opportunity to prove the truths wrong about Alec, the lost millions of dollars, the frivolous lawsuits, the warehouses donors pay for, the endless stream of perks never delivered, the endless statements of Alec Peters, and yet all he could do was spout the same propaganda. Some say I was too soft on him. I say watch it again, look and listen to what he has to say, and see just how influenced Alec makes people. The most recent news, Alec's successful continuation of the temporary protective order against Sean O'Halloran for a further 12 months. A case where Peters says he fears for his life, where Alec is the only individual cited and charged with the crime. A case where Alec and his supporters claim victory, yet it's anything but, and it will not silence his critics. While Sean is no innocent party with some of the rhetoric used over the preceding years, none of that was entered into evidence. No specific threats were mentioned, and let's not forget how Alec flew to Sean's home state to attend the Vegas convention a month before Sean's flight to Dragon Con. Let's also not mention Alec's comment online about willing to go 10 rounds with anybody in a ring. from the critic camp. So, for as long as Teflon Alec continues to bilk gullible people, TrekZone stands with Aximonitor in calling out the fake news and promoting those with first-hand experience of Alec Peters. You can catch the full playlist of our coverage in the YouTube description and on the blog post on TrekZone. All right, with that said, let's catch up on the week that was. I continued Starfleet Academy. Dr. Brad beamed in with the science and space news, and we held a panel discussion about Star Trek Continues. TrekZone membership costs less than a cup of coffee a month. It's available via the join button below on YouTube. For our podcast listeners, jump on to the trek.zone/support. And now, supporting me grow this channel gets you first play access and behind the scenes goss. There's plenty of episodes available now for members for the weeks ahead. So do it today. Have my eternal gratitude. I'm Matt Miller for TrekZone. I'll see you in the comments.